Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I am Mike, and Womp Stomp Films has brought us another Friday the 13th fan film that I would say we don't deserve, but I feel like fans of Friday the 13th deserve everything. We deserve 2 Christmases without our parents divorcing for how long we've had to wait for content. But thank goodness for Womp Stomp and what they do with these fan films. And I feel weird even calling them fan films because even though they call them that, it feels like they should be called tribute films or something like that because they're just so good. I feel like since the first Never Hike Alone came out, it raised the bar. You know, they brought back Tom Matthews. They did all these cool things. The shots were so good. It raised the bar for everything. And there's some amazing fan films and tribute films out there. But I feel like whenever you see Never Hike Alone, you know it's like, okay, well, this is going to be the top echelon, the top tier of all that stuff. And so far, they are 3 for 3 on these. The first one was great. Never Hike in the Snow was great. We finally got to see Jason in the snow. And this is going to be a spoiler-free review. But let me tell you right now, full frontal male nudity, pants off in front of your parents, God, and everyone. This is, I think, in my personal opinion, the best Jason fan film that has ever been made. I think that this tops the first 2 movies. I think this tops, and I might be just on a high from just watching it. I just recorded an entire commentary that's going to be on the Patreon. I'll put a link down below if you guys want to check that out, if you want to watch the whole thing with me. But I might be on a high from just watching it, but I've never had this much fun watching any fan film ever. And we've seen some great ones, we really have, but this is I think my favorite overall fan film of all time. So with that being said, let's get into it. Vincent DiSanti comes back and directs this again and directs the living shit out of it, man. The story ties in really well. It's very, very simple, but they do little nuances with it that make sense. What the characters are doing makes sense. Why they care makes sense. Jason's story makes sense. And especially when they go into the lore of how are we going to stop him? What's the best way to do it? It's really neat and it's interesting, and it's something that the movies haven't really done, in my opinion, that well. It was a genius idea on a way to kind of put a capper on this entire thing. Who knows what they'll do in the future, but as far as this story goes, they did a lot of things that, as far as pleasing fans of that particular storyline that you're promising, they did a lot of things like Halloween Ends couldn't do, for instance. And I liked Halloween Ends, but as far as what they promised, you know, that's a whole nother conversation. But, you know, the way it all wraps up and the lore and the way they handle the lore and the way they handle the characters from the previous Never Hike Alone and the way all that ties in, and Tom Matthews really singularly is the main focus of this, while they go back and they do focus on Andrew Lighty, who was great, and they do focus on the other characters. It feels like Tom Matthews is the main focus, and I feel like that's the right thing to do because it was so exciting to see at the end of that first one, him standing next to that ambulance. And it's not just that, but the fight scenes. Jason is full on just badassery in this. There's multiple sequences where he will show up and just do badass slasher stuff. You know what I mean? Break through a window, throw an axe at somebody, whatever. Just old school, awesome badassery. And the main thing is that somehow, some way, they make it look good. Some of the shots of axes being thrown or people being killed or whatnot has better special effects on it than some of the movies some of the legit in theater movies that we've seen before. And I don't say that to say this isn't legit. You know what I mean? Jason looks so fucking clean, man. When he's chasing somebody down or fighting with someone, movements are so fluid and they're so good. It's a goddamn treat to watch. And just a short running time, right? An hour and 13 minutes long. And it doesn't feel like it lags very much at all. There's a point in the middle where they focus on some story a little bit. But once Jason shows up, for the most part, it's a fucking party. And you get to see Jason in certain situations you've always wanted to see Jason in, like in a room with air conditioning. But I think my favorite thing about this entire movie overall was absolutely how they treated Crystal Lake. It turned into Jason's Batcave in a weird way. There's one just quick short scene where he just kind of walks into a lake. But given the scene and the context around it and the way he does it with purpose, it's like fucking Batman going into the tube into his fucking Batcave. And that might sound cheesy, like, oh my God, that sounds dumb. It's not cheesy at all. It feels natural. It feels really cool. One of the cool things about the reboot is that Jason lived off the land and they kind of made it practical. This takes that idea and just makes it so much cooler and keeps the mystery in it. Like, you can feel that this is Jason's Batcave, the way that he disappears and the way that he shows up and the way his weapons are placed on logs around the place, and just so much Friday the 13th franchise background, from the archery hay bales to the cabins and stuff like that. also tied into there. I loved Crystal Lake in this. I loved fucking Jason in this. The movements were badass. The kills were really good, and they weren't cheesy at all whatsoever. There was no cheese in this movie. Well, I will say there is one scene that kind of veers towards Brackett's character type in like Halloween Kills with the everyone's entitled to one good scare. I'll just say the John Woo scene. That okay, maybe that one was a little bit, but it was fine because, you know, I won't say anything else because I don't want to spoil it. It was fine. It wasn't terrible, but for the most part, 98% of this, zero cheese, all dead serious, earnest fucking filmmaking, and the action scenes were great in it. There is some full-on like fight scenes with Jason and Tom Matthews in this that are filmed and choreographed really, really well, and Tom Matthews is a badass in this. There's some other Friday the 13th cameos that you'll really enjoy. I was just fucking floored by how good the action scenes were. These are theatrical action scenes featuring Jason in amazing ways, and it just boggles my fucking tits, man. It's so goddamn good, and the acting was good too. There's multiple people in this movie that show up, and you're just like, that doesn't feel like fan film acting to me. Like it normally in a lot of situations, even in the best of situations. So it was a good fan film. The acting, it was fan film acting. You know how it goes, and sometimes people can overcome that, and this is one of those movies that overcomes that. I didn't watch almost anybody that was on screen and go, oh, fan film acting. It just looked legit, you know, and it was all filmed beautiful, and the cinematography was beautiful, and the shots were great, and Crystal Lake looks awesome. I'm gobble fucked by this movie and how good it was and how fun Jason was and how dynamic he was in it. You've got to watch it. It's the perfect Jason fan film. I absolutely adore it. It's my favorite fan film of all time. We don't give these ratings, but if I did, I'd give it a goddamn 10 out of 10. I loved it. Gotta watch it. Check it out. It's on YouTube right now. Comment down below. Let me know, what's your all's favorite fan film of all time? How do you feel about these movies? How have you enjoyed them? How excited are you for the Crystal Lake TV series if we don't get fucking fucked over by all the stuff going on in Hollywood with that right now? And also, what kind of underwear do you guys like to wear? It's very important to me that I know this, and it's very important to me that if you like Jason, you like Michael Myers, and you like all that shit, you know, the good stuff, horror all the way around, up, down, and inside of you and your cousin Steve, click subscribe, click the bell so that you're notified when we make videos, because if you don't click the bell and aren't notified, you won't see us in your feed again, because we say things like cock, ball, shit, fart. And sometimes YouTube likes to hide us for those reasons, to keep us away from your kids, which is probably a good idea. I can't really blame them for it, but do your part. Have a great fucking day.
Here comes that white-faced fucker, an asshole like no other. He's a big old piece of shit. Wants to stab your sister's tits cause he's a white-faced fucker. Loomis can't recover. Dr. Challenge drunk again, sleeping with your sister's friends.
Do you want to know about the darkness?
I said, God damn.
God damn you, faggot!
Halloween never ends, suck my fucking dick, and I don't really care what Blumhouse fucking says. Put him in a box, or suck a fucking cock. You can say he's dead, but we all know he's not, yeah. So let's go trick-or-treating, let's go fucking drinking, let's all go rent Pumpkinhead on VHS.